Well, I think one of the beauties of football, college football, is that when things don't go your way in a ball game, unless it's the last game of the year, you get a chance to get back on the horse and get back to work. And I think that is much needed for our football team. The opportunity to get back going again in preparation for another tough Pac-12 opponent in USC. I think we've got plenty to learn from Saturday's game at Oct.8 versus Oregon, but also a lot of things that can get cleaned up relatively quickly so that we can move forward and get better as a team.
All right, everybody's down in LA, USC writers have a question for Coach? Anybody in the conference line? Go ahead.
Hey, Steve, this is Gary from the LA Times. Just wanted to know, with all you've got on your plate trying to recover from that game, does Coach against Lane, have any potential significance for you? I know we asked it earlier, but is it a little bit different than coaching against some of the other guys in the conference?
I don't think it's different in that. Lane and I are primarily offensive coaches, and that it's not as if we're, if we were on the same staff and at SC when we were younger, and he was a defensive guy and I was an offensive guy, and then now we had moved on and then we were calling plays against one another, I think it would be a bit different. But in that, we're both calling plays for our own offenses, and then we've got defensive coordinators in Monty and in Justin that are calling, that we're really kind of calling against, I think is why it doesn't feel so different. I obviously have a great deal of respect for Lane and what he's done there. That hasn't been an easy task, and he's done a nice job. They've got a good football team.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the conference line from LA? All right, we'll take questions from the folks here in person.
You said coming out of LSU that you felt young after that. What was kind of your feeling after Saturday?
Frustrated. I think that, as much as we have youth on this team, as much as we've dealt with a significant amount of injuries, I think we've got a pretty good football team. And unfortunately, we weren't able to put that on display Saturday night because of how that football game began in the first quarter to fall behind 21-0. Because I believe we had a good plan in all three phases. We just weren't able to execute early on to put ourselves in position to have that plan take shape over a four-quarter span.
Sark, have you pinpointed any areas of focus for Keith Price this week?
We all need to get better. We need to have a better game plan. We need to call better plays. We need to pass protect better. We need to run better routes. We need to catch the ball when we throw it to you. And we need to make good, quick decisions at the quarterback position and be decisive and be accurate and play the game the way we're capable of playing. And so the passing game in general is an area of focus for us to be a complete offensive football team. I think we've addressed our run game, and our run game has responded. Now we need to really focus and address our passing game so that we can become a complete balanced offense.
Do you think what Bishop has shown will kind of start to shake opposition defenses loose at this point?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. He's 3 straight 100-yard games in a variety of types of runs, which has been encouraging. It's not just one style of run. He's running between the tackles. He's getting the ball on the perimeter. He's breaking more tackles now than he was early in the season, which is also very encouraging. And I think Kendall Taylor's been a nice compliment to him and what Kendall's brought. So, I'd like to think that stuff can help, but at the end of the day, we still have to implement a game plan that is conducive to our people. We got to call the plays that allow them to be successful, and then ultimately we have to have 11 guys on the field executing together to make that all occur.
Last year with Chris, you knew you had a strong game. You kind of used the run to set the pass. Is that something maybe you have to start getting back to this year as the running game has progressed and you're going to get back to?
Well, that's always great. That stuff for a quarterback is always tremendous. It doesn't matter if you're Drew Brees to playing popcorn football. When a quarterback has a good running game and can utilize the play action pass to throw the ball down the field and get in yards in chunks because guys are open, that's always a quarterback's best friend. So if we can do that, that's great. But that can't be our sole and primary passing game. We can't just rely on that.
Is USC much different than they were kind of when you guys were all there together in terms of, I guess, what they do and things like that?
I think offensively they're very similar. You know, Lane has kept that system intact. They do a nice job, obviously, of getting the ball to Lee into Woods and utilizing the zone run game, and then utilizing the good play action pass game, and Matt throwing the ball down the field. So I think offensively, very similar. Defensively, it's pretty different. You know, from where we were, I think under Pete, and a variety of fronts and really quite a bit of coverages to what they're doing now. Not that they're not very good. I think this is an excellent USC defense. I think probably a bit underrated. I don't know what you guys think of them, but on film, they're a very good defense, and they've played really well this year. They've got an excellent front four. They've got active defenders in the back seven. But they don't do a whole lot. But what they do very well.
Do you, in terms of pass protection, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Do you see signs of hope and there's been injuries and stuff? What are some reasons?
I thought we got better last week. I really did. I was proud of our guys up front. I mean, we weren't perfect, and obviously Oregon's a excellent front seven. But I thought we improved last week. We gave up one sack. The one sack that was given up, you know, we'd like to think we could maybe get rid of that ball, but you know, I think that as we grow together, as we play more together, as we can rely on one another, as we communicate better, as we get more experience up front, we should improve, and that's what we've seen so far.
Has anything major changed in Lane's offense since the two guys were at
In Lane's?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know if there's so much of a major change. You know, Lane's a really creative guy. He finds a variety of ways to get the ball into Woods and Lee's hands, whether it's in the quick screen game, whether it's bringing them out of the backfield, whether it's creating matchups on the perimeter one-on-one with corners, whether it's with double moves down the field. He does a nice job of moving them around. They don't line up in one spot. And their quarterback, Matt, really understands that and can play that style. You know, some guys don't respond that way at quarterback. They like to know where their guys are, but number 2 and number 9 are all over the field, and Lane does a good job of moving them around. But I don't think anything's really drastically different, no.
Austin was listed on the depth chart today. Is he fully back after
I don't know yet.
Steve, I know Keith's a junior, but is there any sense in your mind that he might be going through a sophomore slump?
No.
Sark, it seems you want to kind of maybe change that conversation from what is Keith doing right or wrong to just what is the passing game need to do. I mean, he's been particularly hard on himself. Is this part of the reason you want to say, hey?
Yeah, I think he's been too hard on himself. It's not fair for him to do that to himself. He lost some guys that I think he was probably counting on up front. He lost a veteran receiver that he probably was counting on. He lost a couple veteran running backs that he was probably counting on. And in turn, probably put too much pressure on himself to try to make everybody else right around him, rather than keeping the focus on himself and allowing us to fix the things that are going on around him. And so that's hopefully what we can get him back to. But to do that, everybody else has got to do their job really well.
Steve, on paper, this certainly looks like the biggest test for your secondary with Woods and Lee. Is that your sense as well?
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, I think it's a combined 85 catches or 87 catches so far on the season for them. So it's not a real secret where the ball's going. We've got to try to find a way to cover him.
The guy who's thrown it as well, Matt Marshall. We know you think highly of him. What is it that he brings to the table? What is it that you like about him?
He's got a really vast understanding of that system. You know, he's been in that offense now for 4 years. He's got a very quick release to take advantage of all the quick throws they like to use to get the ball on the perimeter, but also has got the arm strength to really throw the ball down the field with all the double move stuff that they like to do and the deep post and the dig routes. And then he shows good composure in the pocket. He'll stand in there and deliver the ball when people are around him. So he's a very good player. He's an excellent leader. And Matt's a good person.
He talked about he's forcing him too much after the game. What do you have to tell him maybe to kind of calm him down and not try to force him too much? Is there anything
Just play within the system.
You mentioned frustration. Did watching the film make it more frustrating, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty frustrated after the game, so I don't know if I could have gotten more frustrated than that. But it just kind of reinforced, I guess, some of the frustration, if that's a better way to put it, because there were some plays there that in all three phases that I thought really impacted the game right in the first quarter that we just haven't done all year. You know, we haven't dropped a punt all year. We haven't, you know, we had some blown coverages, but there was two in particular that we really haven't done all year. And then Keith making a misread that he really hasn't done all year. I know he throws the pick six versus Stanford, but it's a heck of a play on a screen play by their defensive end. This was just a poor read. So those three things just jumped out at me. It was frustrating because if we just play the way we had been playing, okay, maybe it's a 7-0 game, we're into the second quarter, and let's keep playing because we had a good plan, and once we settled in, I think we could have hung around and made that thing a much better ball game into the fourth quarter.
I guess it's easy to assume Autzen Stadium can do that to guys. I mean, do you think there was some of that, or anything you pinpoint for us?
I don't think so, quite honestly. I think maybe their tempo got us offensively to cause the coverage breakdown. I thought I tried too hard as a head coach in getting the return by Marvin when that had been a fair catch situation for us in the previous 4 games, and allowed him to return that punt, where if it was any of the previous 4 games, we fair catch it and we get the ball right there. You know, and all of the things in the passing game, I think, led to maybe Keith, you know, forcing that throw. They're not forcing it, making the misread. So I don't know if that's Autzen. I didn't think the moment was too big. I mean, I think we had one false start in the game, and that was, you know, on a 3rd and short. But outside of that, I thought our composure was good. We fell behind against a good team. You know, at the end of 15 minutes, you're down 21-0 against Oregon. It doesn't matter if you're playing, you know, at Roosevelt High down the street, you're going to be in trouble.
So did he have the option there to call, or he was supposed to just return that no matter what?
No, it was we've taught that in that particular block that it's an automatic fair catch. And when the ball got punted, we try to communicate with our returner to let him know if he's good or if he's got pressure on him to fair catch it. We let him know he was good. He was good. I did, and so he tried to make the return. And their gunner got pretty close, and you can see some shots of him on the video of his eyes coming off of the ball, looking at the gunner that's close to him. And in that scenario, if it's a fair catch, he never takes his eye off the ball, and I'd like to think he catches it.
You talked about Corey Littleton a little after the game. What have you seen from his progression, especially as a true freshman to start at the end? What did they say?
Corey played a really physical football game the other night. From the opening kickoff, he went down, had a knockdown. I thought he played a physical game. For a guy making his first career, not only having his first career playing time, but his first career start, really, really pleased and excited for his future. He's a guy that has just improved immensely since he's been here. He's put on upwards to 20 pounds since he's been here with us. His understanding of what we've been trying to do from training camp and into the first few weeks of the season has just gotten better and better and better. He's a very bright guy. I'm excited about Corey's future.
When you talk about renewed emphasis on the passing game and working on that, how much of a key is trying to find that second receiver to kind of hold the case a little bit there?
Well, we've got a pretty good second receiver in Austin. I think he's the second leading tight end catcher in the country right now. So it doesn't always necessarily have to be a receiver. You know, I know we lose Austin there into the second half, but, you know, he has 2 catches going at halftime. Probably should have been 3. We don't make a play on the sidelines. And he gets another 3 to 4 in the second half. He ends up the game with 7 catches again. So, you know, we had to change a little bit the second half of where that ball was going. But that kind of is our second receiver. It's a tight end.
So you feel like you can kind of continue the rest of the season with 2 or 8 pass catches?
Sure.
Are they playing him differently defensively?
No. No. I don't think so at all. You know, I mean, I don't know exactly what his number is, but somebody just told me he's second in the country amongst tight ends in receiving in catches. So obviously the ball's going his way a pretty significant amount of time, and there are probably another handful or so plays that could have been for him that probably would have made him the #1 guy right now. So he's doing a nice job. I thought he really had a nice second half of the week last week in practice, and that carried over to the game. This was in the first half. This is one of Austin's better games. I know a lot of times we just look at the catches and the yards and the touchdowns, but he played a pretty good first half of football against Oregon, and hopefully we can continue that.
So where do you think the team psyche is? You cited your own frustration. Keith is frustrated coming off another loss on the road.
That's a good thing. If we would have accepted it, then we'd be really in trouble, you know. So I think we went in there with an expectation to win. Didn't happen, and we'll get back on the horse. This is a tough-minded group, and we've known that about them. We had a good, nice meeting with them last night, good work with them last night, and we'll get back at it tomorrow morning.
The offensive line, is there anybody in particular that's really come on, I guess especially those young guys that have had to play?
Dexter Charles has dramatically improved from his early on playing time. I thought if you look 2 weeks ago from Stanford to last week versus Oregon, Shane Brostick in a 7-day span, how much he improved. So those guys really jumped out. When you don't talk about guys, that's a good thing. And we haven't talked a whole lot about Micah Hatchie at left tackle, so that probably means he's playing pretty good.
SC rotates a number of backs in, but what does Silas Red brought to that offense?
Last week's game was Silas's best game running the football. He ran confidently. He broke tackles at the second level. I think it just, again, SC, as much as we think of them as a passing team and they love to throw the football, obviously this system and their system works best when you have a balanced attack, when you can run it and throw it. And I think he offers them a balanced attack, the ability to run the football and then utilize the play action pass to get those guys one-on-one scenarios down the field.
Steve, as it's evolved here and here forward, how much is your system pretty much what you call it USC? Or what have you had to change?
We've changed because of somewhat of what we inherited. We inherited an offense that had been a spread offense, a zone read offense for I don't know exactly how many years prior to us getting here. And we had a quarterback in Jake that was comfortable in that style of offense. So we had to have some give and take. We wanted to implement our offense, but yet put some things in that he was comfortable with and the guys were comfortable with, and so we had to meet in the middle in a sense. And after a couple years of doing that with Jake and then Keith growing up in that system, we enjoy it. We enjoy being in the gun a little bit more. We enjoy some of the zone read stuff and the things that can come off of it. That doesn't mean we neglect the two-back runs and running the football and being under center. We've kind of worked our way a bit more towards the spread maybe than where we were when we first came from SC, but I think it's been all for positive stuff.
Anything else from anybody?
We join us from the conference call. You guys still hear it?
Yep, go ahead.
Great. This is Lee Swarbrick with Marksports.com. I was wondering, USC loses this one game to Stanford, but people are talking about it in the national. Do you still consider these guys to be your top team in the country or right up there?
I think they're an excellent football team. They're very talented. I know Lane hates when I say this, but they're probably the most talented team in our conference. When you just look at their starting 22, they are a really, really talented group, and they're well coached in all three phases. So they present a great challenge. As far as a national title contender or not, a lot of that's probably more up to you guys than to me,
I'm curious also about, this is the end of I think 4 out of the past 5 games you guys have playing top 25 teams. Are you looking forward to this stretch being over, or is it a good test for you guys?
It's actually top 10 teams for the last 5. I don't forget it. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it being over. I think there's something to be made about the psyche of a team and the mental makeup of the team and the mental toughness of the team to embrace these opportunities. And I think we do. I think we go in, man, with our fists up and our sleeves rolled up and ready to go to work and to go to battle and compete. And the next 6 aren't going to be a whole lot easier, believe me. I mean, we got some other guys coming down the pipe that are pretty good teams too. So you can't worry about who you just played. You can't worry about who's coming. You just focus on the task at hand. And we have USC this week, and very good football team. Get them at CenturyLink Field. It would be great to get back in front of our home crowd. We're expecting a great atmosphere. I think our guys will really thrive off of it.